Hello, my name's Anne Le Bas and I'm the vicar of Seal Church, and I'm going to tell a story today for the children of Seal School and anyone else who'd like to watch it. This story is from the New Testament, from the Gospel of John, but before I tell it I'm going to light our candle, as we always do at Seal School before we start our collective worship. So let's see if it'll light. Think lots of thoughts of warmth and light wherever you are to help me. There we are. And we'll start with the greeting we use at Seal School as we wish for God's peace for each other. Peace be with you. As I said, I'm going to tell you a story from the New Testament, from the Gospel of John. It's a story about Jesus. Now, Jesus was a really good storyteller himself, and a very wise teacher, and wherever he went, people came out to listen to him. It so happened that one day he was near one particular town, and the people in the town heard that Jesus was there, and they said to one another, "Let's go and hear him. Let's go and see what he has to say." And so out of the town they came in their tens and their hundreds and their thousands to the place where Jesus was. And they sat down on the grass around him, and there were more than 5,000 of them there. And all that day they listened. They listened as the sun came up, as the sun was high in the sky, as the sun started to sink towards the horizon. Near the end of the day, they started to realise, though, that they were feeling rather hungry. It had been a long time since breakfast, but what were they going to do? There were no shops around, and they were too far from home to nip back to have something to eat. And Jesus could see that they were hungry too. He could hear the tummies rumbling. He could see that they were starting to feel a bit faint, and he was worried about them. So he gathered his friends together, his disciples, 12 of them, and he said to them, "Look at all these people. See how hungry they are. What are we going to do about that? What are we going to feed them with?" And his friends said, "Well, we don't know. There's only a few of us, and we couldn't possibly afford to feed all these people, even if we had any food to give them." And Jesus said, "But they must be fed, because see how hungry they are." And just at that moment, one of Jesus' friends, a man called Andrew, noticed that in the crowd, not far off, there was a little boy, and the little boy had his hand up. And Andrew called to the little boy, and the little boy came out of the crowd. And Andrew said, "What is it you want to say?" And the little boy said, "I've got some lunch with me. I've got some food. I heard Jesus saying that all these people didn't have food and they needed some and you didn't know what to do, but I've got some food. So what if I gave my food to Jesus and Jesus could share it with everyone here?" And Andrew looked at the little boy and he said, "Well, show me the food that you've got." And so the little boy unwrapped his little package of food, and inside there were 5 little round loaves of bread and 2 fishes. And Andrew thought that was very kind of the boy to offer it, but how on earth would that feed all these people? But anyway, he took the little boy to Jesus and he said, "Jesus, there is a little boy here who has some food and wants you to share it with everyone." And Andrew waited for Jesus to say, "Well, I'm sorry, but it won't be enough." But Jesus didn't say that. He bent down to the little boy and he took the food and he said, "Thank you for sharing this food. And now I'm going to thank God for it too." And so Jesus said a prayer. He thanked God for the food. He thanked God for all the good things we're given. He thanked God for the little boy and his generosity. And then he began to share that food. And he gave it to his disciples to share as well. He went along the front row and he broke off bits of bread and bits of fish and gave it to the people in the front row. But somehow or other, there still seemed to be plenty more. And the disciples started sharing out the food with everyone. But somehow or other, no matter how much they gave away, there always seemed to be more in their hands. And all around that crowd they went with the food, and everyone in the crowd broke it up and shared it with those around them, until everyone in that huge crowd of people, 5,000 people and more, had had enough to eat, and seconds and thirds, and their bellies were full. And they all went off home that evening, full up and feeling well and healthy and happy. And that's the end of the story. And I don't understand that story because I don't know how 5 little loaves of bread and 2 fishes could feed more than 5,000 people. So that's a story that leaves me wondering. And I expect it leaves you wondering too. So maybe you'd like to wonder about that story and talk about it with the people who are watching this with you. What I do know about that story, though, is that if it hadn't been for that little boy who was so generous with his 5 loaves of bread and his 2 fishes, then Jesus wouldn't have had anything to share with all of those people. And that makes me wonder what I might have to share and what you might have that you could share with the people around you. Anyway, talk about the story with the people you're with. Wonder for yourself about that story. Wonder about what you might have done if you'd been there. Wonder about what it is that you've got to share with other people. And that's all we've got time for today, so now it's time to blow out our candle. So are you going to blow wherever you are? I'll count to 3 and then we'll blow. Ready? 1, 2, 3, blow. Bye for now.